Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here today. We're doing things a little bit differently. We're about to change how we do our council meetings. So this is kind of a blended experience today. So if you just bear with us. We're going to go ahead and start off just like we do during our regular city council meetings in the chambers. But then you're going to hear us do a work session, which is like the pre-council meeting, but it's going to be in here. Okay, so that's the difference that you're seeing today. So again, just bear with us. All right, so we're going to start off with our opening prayer to be led by Pastor Josh Kervin of First Baptist Church of Garment Street, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Captain Calvin Huggins from the Warner Robins Fire Department. If everyone would please stand while Pastor Kervin starts us off in prayer.
Shall we pray? We say, good evening, our Father. We come to you with adoration, with glory, with submissiveness of heart, and with praise. I ask that you would forgive us of anything and everything that would hinder you hearing and answering this prayer. I'd ask that you would look with kindness, with grace, and with mercy upon this mayor and this council. Father, we live in a world characterized by fear, wars, man's inhumane treatment of each other, corruption in government at every level, distrust, mistrust, no trust at every level of human existence. Yet you remain the God who has not, cannot, and will not change. Lord, it is my prayer that this mayor and council will continue to put the city of Warner Robins and its citizens above any desire for power, personal enrichment, for notoriety, for influence, for status, and for financial gain. I pray that this mayor and each council person will not succumb to the temptation to call wrong right, will not succumb to the temptation to divide this community along geographic lines, will not succumb to the temptation to put the interest of those with deep pockets ahead of those who have deep holes in their pockets, will not succumb to the temptation to make decisions according to the dictates of those representing a certain political party, will not succumb to the temptation to employ trickle-down justice, trickle-down economics, trickle-down favors, trickle-down fairness, trickle-down hirings, will not succumb to the temptation to go along in order to get along even when it's wrong. As I conclude this prayer, I echo the words of a prayer attributed to another person. God, grant this mayor and council the serenity to accept the things they cannot change, the courage to change the things they can, and the wisdom to know the difference. This is my prayer, made in the name of Jesus the Christ, our risen Lord and Savior, we pray. Amen and amen.
Good afternoon, everyone. Pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Council, you can stand because we have to take a picture with Pastor Kervin and also Chief Dixon, who stood in for Captain Huggins. I now officially call today's meeting to order. We'll first start with the adoption of the agenda. You may need to make some revisions according to council that has not showed up yet.
Mayor, you do not have to adopt the agenda. You can delay that.
All right, we're going to delay the adoption of the agenda to give council a few more minutes. We're going to go ahead into item number 1 for the work session items. For those of you who do not have a printed out packet of our agenda for today's meeting, there may still be some in the rotunda. If not, you can use the QR code that's on the glass of the rotunda and scan it and follow along on your electronic device if you so wish. The work session items for today, again, this is things we usually would talk about in pre-council, but we're changing it up to do it here in chambers and call it a work session item, okay? So the first thing up is going to be the discussion of the agenda items. Council, you now have the agenda in front of you. Are there any items that you would like to discuss here in chambers before we move on to the rest of the agenda?
Mayor, I would like for us to have a discussion on item number 9.
All right, item number 9 is a rezoning petition for Caleb Properties LLC, which is 24 acres in the North Quarter Road, South House and Lake Road area. It's a rezoning to R4, which is multifamily residential district. Do we have staff member at present who can give us some information about item number 9, please?
Mr. Curtis is coming forward now.
All right, good afternoon. So the petitioned property is currently zoned C2. It abuts property that is also zoned C2 to the west, that is consisting of a professional office park, and to the east, which consists of a multifamily apartment community known as Coldwater Creek Apartments. Now, the reason I want to emphasize that property to the east is also an apartment community is that it's also currently zoned C2, which this property was established as an apartment community years ago when the zoning code allowed for apartments to be established in a C2 zoning. As they no longer do so, this property is being petitioned to change from C2 to R4, and it has been made the intent of the property owner to establish an apartment community on this site. What we know regarding access and transportation is that this property currently has 2 points of access, one of which is almost aligned with the existing access along Coldwater Creek, Quarter Road, which is the Coldwater Creek driveway. We would want to see that driveway be realigned whenever we receive a design. We just want to make mention of that. And then additionally, there's a separate driveway that it appears to be a maintenance driveway right now. That driveway may or may not be necessary for this development. But we would expect that if it's going to be included, it may remain as a gated emergency access for this site. Otherwise, this would be considered somewhat of a down zoning as far as the use of the property goes, and staff did recommend approval of the request to rezone. And unless you had any other questions, I'm happy to stay.
This is the same property I asked about, I'm sorry. If I may, this is the same property I asked about last meeting when I made mention that I have some church members that ask me every Sunday, what are y'all going to do with that property?
I'm concerned about the density in that area now. We just approved a short while ago across the street from there. There's limited access now as it is. There's intense traffic on Houston Lake Road. Is this not getting out of hand a little bit? We're talking about apartments, very high density complex with one right across the street already. So I have concerns as well, Mr. Holmes.
We approved that other on the corner. That was the main issue. And as we all stated, said they're going to try to develop across the street. And that was going to be a bit much for that area that's already congested. So I don't understand why we're having this discussion.
Do you have any anything to include when it deals to traffic and transportation for this parcel? Also, clearly describing where this parcel is located on Quarter Road.
So because there has not yet been a formal submission for a development plan, what we have currently, I believe, is conceptual, and I'll be happy to take a look at that. I would point out too that we do have a representative available on behalf of the petitioner if the need arises to discuss directly with them. But until we have a formal submission, we don't know an exact density. You should have included with your packets the conceptual layout, but I will see if there's a reference here to the actual planned number of units. I don't remember that off the top of my head, but
Can you describe where the parcel is located on Quarter Road?
yes, ma'am. So there is a large power easement that runs across the about the halfway mark of South Quarter Road. And so this parcel is located directly across from the Coldwater Creek apartment community. And that is just a little bit northeast of the intersection of South Quarter Road and Houston Lake Road.
And do you have anything to include when it comes to traffic and transportation patterns on Quarter Road?
So we do know, based on the previous request for a zoning change along this stretch of South Quarter, we have I don't have it in front of me, but we did collect it's not a traffic impact study, it is more of a traffic count for peak hours that was collected as part of the previous request for development along that corridor. We have also worked with the landowners who have petitioned property at the intersection to reserve additional spacing or building setbacks to account for potential future widening of that section of South Quarter Road. That would greatly alleviate some of the stress on that signal currently. And I don't have, unfortunately, the traffic count from the previous proposal in front of me, but we do recognize that there is a high volume of traffic in that intersection, and the peak hours sort of range. You've got the church across the street, so the signal itself does experience a range as far as the peak hours go.
Sir, if I may ask, Mayor, do you recall the number of parcels that's in Coldwater, units that are in Coldwater Creek and for the proposed property that we approved previously? Corner of House and Lake and Quarter.
I don't have a count for Coldwater Creek. The across Quarter Road, the previous submission, I want to guess it's somewhere around 200 units. I don't have that in front of me either.
I thought it was a few more than that.
Are you referring to Councilman Mack, are you referring to the development that's going to be at the intersection of Quarter and Houston Lake,
Yes, ma'am.
where that traffic issue is?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I don't remember the number either, but
Around 3+.
Mr. Curtis, this whole corridor from Russell Parkway to House and Lake Road, I know there's a power easement. The city actually even owns some of the land and even straddles that roadway in a point of this actual property. I mean, do we know what the overall plan is for that particular area? Because if we fill it up with apartments and condominiums, I just think it's unwise. I know it's personal property that people own, and they have a right to develop their property. I understand that. I'm just very concerned about the density of residential properties. This area is zoned commercial. I know you also have traffic with commercial properties. But I'm still concerned about the volume that we're continuing to add to this probably most highly stressed area in the city right now. There may be others that might be more, I'm not sure, just taking a wild guess. Because when you come through there at certain times of the day, granted, the afternoon hours, morning hours, guys, I go through there quite a lot, and Madam Mayor, it's a mess.
It's bad on Saturday.
If you're trying to come out of Tucker Place, you can forget it at certain times of the day. You can absolutely forget it.
Yeah, that section of South Quarter Road, it definitely needs to be widened. We've identified that as a future project. As far as the surrounding area there, I can't speak to the city-owned property, but to the north, over the other side of the power easement, and the remainder of South Quarter Road is otherwise zoned for commercial use, as well as, this 24-acre tract of land. So, I would say, oftentimes we do look at, zoning from especially a general commercial use to a residential use is less intensive for, or I should say it's potentially less intensive of a use. That's why it's sometimes referred to as a downzoning. Now, as far as potential density, I can tell you just as a basic, and again, I would encourage you that if it's necessary for your information to speak directly with the developer. I believe we do have a representative present, but at 24 acres, without account, and this is, you saw me quick calculation here, this would not account for things that are required of any residential apartment facility, which would include parking, any sort of common space, amenity, mail kiosk, office, things like that, which obviously decrease the density. But just a general, worst case scenario as far as density goes on a 2 to 3 story apartment community, I calculate 288 units at maximum. So that is, in part the basis of our recommendation, and, certainly happy to answer any other questions.
Also, Mr. Curtis, were there any concerns with the meeting with planning and zoning on this particular property? And also, was everybody on planning and zoning in favor of this?
It was recommended for approval unanimously by the Planning Commission. Our concern tends to be mostly related to the access configuration. So a lot of times, until we have a formal submission, what we have to try and account for as best we can is the way you can safely get on and off of the main road. And so that's why I make mention of the primary driveway, the need for that driveway to more perfectly align with the Coldwater Creek. If this is approved, then we would expect that to be, improvement number one. And then additionally, the other driveway, which again is currently, it appears to be a maintenance driveway. If the developer were to submit a plan for that to be included as a secondary point of access, at 200 plus units, it would probably be required. But we would, it happens to be located in the apex of the curve. And so as far as sight distance goes, it's probably in the best location as far as being able to see from left to right. We would also need there to be an assessment taken of the line of trees, so as to in order to maximize your sight distance. This kind of comes down to standard design review things that we do with all developments. But as far as concerns go, those are the ones that I would mention that we discussed at that meeting.
And you mentioned a possible widening of South Quarter Road. Is that something that's in a planning stage? Is that within the next few years, or is that something that really hadn't been batted around?
So regarding the other development we mentioned, which is on the other side in the intersection, we had that developer set aside an additional, I want to say 12 feet of spacing from any roof structure to the right-of-way. We would ask that of any development along that stretch on both sides in order to account for the spacing that we need to install the widening project. And so it's very early discussions as far as all that goes, but we do recognize that the signal currently is probably at volume. We did also assess the ability to widen any other section of that intersection, and we believe that other than Bass Road across Houston Lake, there's not really another opportunity to widen Houston Lake Road any further at that area. So it would be the widening of South Quarter, and maybe one day potentially widening Bass Road, and that would be the sort of final phase of that intersection.
All right, so we had a lot of questions about this particular development, and the reason why is because we know every time there's something developing on that parcel, that area of South Houston Lake and Quarter, we get a lot of constituents who are asking questions. But at the end of the day, I remember the last meeting we had, council talked about all the area over there is going to eventually be developed. And the real issue is the traffic problem, and the city coming up with options on how to improve the traffic pattern and traffic flow in the area where we know development is going to come. So when it comes to the rezoning petition that's at hand, just as all the other ones are here in front of us, this is the best opportunity to start talking about and hearing some feedback from our team on some things that we can do to help with the underlying issue, which is the foundation of the issue, which is the traffic flow. So I don't see the traffic or transportation planner here, but I do see someone from engineering who is present, and I'm gonna put him on the spot and see if he has anything to add to this discussion. And if he doesn't, I will ask Mr. Drinkard if he has anything to add to this discussion. But I see Mr. Vic Savage walking up to us. So maybe he can give us a little bit of insight. The person that would have it is not present. So thank you, Mr. Savage. You've heard the discussion once again about traffic flow and the concerns of traffic in the area by Quarter Road and South Houston Lake. I know we've had many discussions, we've had many meetings, we've had boots on the ground, brainstorming sessions to figure out what to do in that area to help with the traffic issues. So, looking at this new proposal in front of us, we're going to get many more things like this. Do we have any new thoughts on what we can do to improve the traffic flow for that entire corridor?
It is on our radar, and when that other corner develops, we talked about, like on the south side, reserving another 12 feet of right-of-way on that side, so it would also enhance the area for additional lanes. We've brought it up to the county about maybe a future SPLOST project for that whole intersection and taking a closer look at that at our last couple meetings. So it is on our radar and something we should be able to get to soon.
So the notes I'm looking at for the analysis, it's talking about the traffic and transportation. It says we're considering the widening project, which you just mentioned, and possibly installing traffic improvements that could include a left turn lane. Could you help illustrate and bring us home when it comes to this development and what we can do to help and alleviate the traffic concerns at the intersection of Quarter and South Houston Lake? I know this parcel is in the middle of Houston Lake, South Houston Lake and Russell. So it curves down, it's kind of in the middle. Are there any things we can do to help alleviate the concern of adding traffic to that Quarter Road and South Houston Lake intersection?
In the short term, we could probably recommend maybe the petitioner doing a full-blown traffic study in that area and maybe take into some accounts of the vacant land around there to recommend some future improvements to help guide us exactly what needs to be done at that intersection.
All right, let me wade in. Yes, sir.
Mayor and council, in 2007 or 2008, I had DOT come in to talk to us about Quarter Road. At that time, DOT said they could not recommend widening that road. They did say that the most we can do, or they can do, would be to approve a center lane, but nothing else. That was 2006, 2007.
So that would be the turn lane that Mr. Curtis and Mr. Savage spoke about. Now, one of the things to keep in mind is when GDOT looks at a given location, they look based on current conditions. So as conditions change, their evaluation can change, their recommendations may change. What we're dealing with, you know, our code as it exists allows for what's referred to as speculative rezoning of property. So you can rezone a property without a definitive plan, without site plans, without engineering done, things of that nature. And there's also some challenges in our code with respect to when traffic studies are required. So that obviously puts staff at a bit of a, they're challenged a bit as they're trying to do an analysis of these. And this is something that we're going to be bringing forward to you coming up with some changes that we have planned. But that being said, as you're dealing with a situation like this, generally speaking, when you're analyzing a given intersection or a given section of roadway, you're going to look at the current level of service of that road. And then you look at how much of an impact or how much of a change a given development is going to have, based on the traffic conditions in that corridor. And let's say this would be, I'm going to use 250 as a round count. That's probably a little high based on some of the things that you'd have to do with multifamily development. But we'll use 250 for now. 250 units is, because of the level of traffic that we see out there today, is not one that is going to be a significant influence on the level of service of the road, especially during peak hours. Not having an analysis in front of me, my anticipation would be at best you're looking at level service D in that intersection at peak commute periods, and it may be a level of service F. We would look at how quickly that would be mitigated over time, right? So you can have a level of service F that lasts for 30 minutes. Something to keep in mind is if you have a roadway that is designed or an intersection that's designed to handle, let's say, 1,000 cars in an hour, 1,001 can put it into gridlock, right? And so you have to look at a lot of factors. As you're considering an item like this in the current situation, you know, typically this is where conditions of zoning can come into play. And you can look at things like, let's say you wanted to consider approval of this, okay? You could say, we will conditionally approve this, but require the developer to submit a full traffic study. And if that traffic study makes certain recommendations, those recommendations have to come back to council. You can require things like requiring that any development, a site plan has to be created. That site plan has to come back for council consideration. So there's a lot of factors that you can look at, but when you're in a speculative situation like this, when you're dealing with an application that has a relatively low level of information to it, it's very difficult to come up with solid recommendations.
When we approved the other parcel, we asked for a traffic study. So if they don't have, if everything is speculative, then why is it even coming before us?
Because that is what the current code allows for. Again, that's something that we're working on. We have changes that are going through the process right now. Is that on the September?
Because we're conditioned to approving things that we don't have solid facts for, and then they do what they want to do, and then we get blamed for it.
Yes, sir, I understand. That's why, again, you can put a condition of zoning that says that any proposed development that occurs under the zoning must first come before council with conceptual plans, et cetera.
So did we get the traffic study from the prior one? Was that done? Because I know we asked for it.
So we collected traffic information as far as an impact study. So you kind of have to be really specific, because when you commission a firm or agency to do these plans, they'll give you a lot of information and they'll charge you a lot for it, but unless you're specific in what exactly, what information you're looking for, it's not always going to satisfy your overarching concern. What I would suggest, and kind of as Mr. Drinkard alluded to, is if we know a certain intersection, and this is for any, not just this project, just any project, if we know a certain intersection is already approaching capacity, and we know that there needs to be upgrades, a general good idea would be to have a developer of any parcel of land contribute towards or commission their own traffic impact analysis to include potential upgrades that are based specifically on the density of their development. And so, again, while this may be speculative in its current form, We would expect a development plan to be delivered to our office in the near future if it's approved. I would say that a worthwhile condition could also be that upon receiving a plan, that a traffic impact study based on that plan be required. And I think, we can maybe discuss further if the language of that condition, but just a suggestion, so.
I have a question. This parcel used to be C2, it's being requested to move to R4. Did you say that was a downgrade, or?
As far as the use of the property, it is traditionally considered to be a less intensive use. So as it currently stands as a general commercial zoning, the example I always give people is, currently you could put a Chick-fil-A there. I mean, and in terms of traffic volumes, that would far exceed an apartment community. But, and don't interpret what I'm saying as advocating for it. I'm simply just pointing out that traditionally C2 could allow for potentially more intensive uses of that property, higher traffic counts. It's 24 acres of commercial land currently, so.
Okay, and so Councilman Mack and for all the council, it is true, our code allows this, but that's why we're here, specifically you all, because you can put restrictions to help control what happens so that nothing occurs there that we don't want to see. And that's something that's not good for our city. So right now, our code hasn't been updated to require conceptual plans prior to this point. That's something I think we're going to be working on doing. But right now, this is where we are. So for this, we know the underlying issue, the city needs to come up with an option for the traffic concerns. And I know you hear our team, that they're working on options, brainstorming through this. Again, it's private land, so we can't just confiscate and do our own thing, but we're working on it. And we know we're going to get more and more requests in this area for development. That's a fact. So as we're considering this particular rezoning petition, I want us to consider what are we going to do with individuals requesting to develop in the area. The only time we get to restrict is if it's a rezoning. But if it stays the same zoning, we can't really restrict what happens there. A gas station, Buc-ee's Part 2, whatever it is, we don't have as much say-so. So let's think about this one, how we want to proceed. Think about the entire area that's going to have rezoning petitions or development requests, and how we're going to work through that when we know the real issue is traffic patterns. And that's what we're tasked with figuring out for our city.
Correct. And some of this, as I was alluding to, we've got some changes to our development code that are coming forward. Those have to go through the Zoning Procedures Act. So they are scheduled to go to Planning Commission in October. With the October Planning Commission, and could come forward to City Council that same month.
You did say the developer is here. Just to get an idea of what we're actually looking at and what the game plan is for the land, could we hear from them also?
Technically, sir, at this point in the agenda, you would not be able to. You would need to do that under the actual item itself, under this structure of meeting, because you'd really need to do it under the business section, unless our city attorney says it's okay, in which case, hey, if she's good, I'm good.
And I just wanted to add that if you do want to put in place any conditions of zoning on any of the rezonings now or in future, I know we have conversation about these items, but if it is not an explicit part of your motion, then it may not be adopted and it will not run with the land. So just as a point of form, if you would like to put any condition of zoning, such as the submission of a traffic impact study prior to submission of a site plan for your approval, or whichever order would be recommended by the experts, it needs to be an explicit part of your motion please.
And if you would, if you would like us to work on something as you're working on other agenda items, if you would like staff to work on that, if you could give us some guidance at this point as to what sorts of things you may be interested in, if it's a traffic study and the type of traffic study that our experts feel would be appropriate. If you want a site plan to come back to City Council, just let us know that. Another option, and as I say this, the developer is sitting right there, and he's probably, do you have anything you're going to throw at me, sir? An option that you could look at is you could table it or defer it pending a traffic study being completed. That is another option available to you. Not advocating that be what you do necessarily, but it is an option available to you, and I do have the responsibility to let you know that.
And if we did the conditions in a motion to restrict whatever it is council wants to see, I want to describe what that means in real time. So what it would mean is the parcel would be rezoned to multifamily residential. The developer will then know what type of conceptual plan he has to do according to the restrictions put on him from council. Then those would come back to council. They would review them to see if it is approved or not approved. But development cannot start until council has basically checked the box of everything that's come their way. Is that right?
That is correct,
Okay.
if the conditions are appropriately worded. And that being what you're looking for, we can certainly make that happen.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other discussion on this work session
I was
item?
just going to let Mr. Holmes know, I know it's his item, and I'm not in favor of it as it is right now, so we're looking
Well,
for a possible amendment or just a tabling, if
thank you,
everybody's in
Councilman.
agreement.
Thank you, Councilman. What I want to say is that under the previous administration, we had a similar situation come before us, and the developer, what I'm going to say, basically lied on the minister who owned the property that he was claiming the minister was going to allow him to put a road in. We are living badly in the eyesight of these individuals now, and we will be living badly in the eyesight of this subdivision. I met with that pastor. He said there's no way I would allow a road to come this close to the fence where my kids are. I'll never forget that. But yet the developer told me that the minister said it was okay. And I said I would not vote for it until I talked to the minister. I talked to the minister, and the minister said no, I did not say that. Each one of you have presented your case very well. I know what kind of motion I'm going to make. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are there any other agenda items we need to discuss for this part of the work session?
Can we discuss item number 14?
Did you just say 4 or 14?
That's not me.
14. Okay.
So item 14 is a contract for consulting with Mr. Joey McDuffie. Mr. McDuffie retired from our utility department. That was not an anticipated retirement. So there's some knowledge that we need to capture for him or from him. And so this would be a consulting contract. It's a limited contract. And the intent of that is to aid in training the individual who would likely go into that position. Well, some individual will go into that position, so we want to provide some training. We also want to capture some of the knowledge and information which is in Mr. McDuffie's head, which is extensive and has not been documented to date. And so that's the other key piece of that. The other thing that I would comment on deals with the pay rate under that contract. That pay rate is one that has been standard with the city. At this point, I don't have, yes, exactly. I don't have the foundation on which to provide an alternative in terms of pricing. You know, again, it is for consistency. This has been standard. And, you know, given some of the conversations we've had of late, you know, I don't have confidence to make a recommendation on an alternative in terms of rate to ensure that it is based in fact and logic rather than me just pulling a number out of the air.
I think what I'm noticing as my view is not as skewed as it was in the past. We've identified single points of failure in our city. We lack phased documented training programs throughout every department, which requires standardization across the board.
I do not disagree with that, sir.
Just because it was standard in the past, that don't make it right now. We can't do nothing with the past, but we have an opportunity to fix the situation, and throwing $125 an hour, that don't sit right with me.
I can understand that, sir. Quite simply, I need to be able to capture that information. I've got to get us out of a hole. You know, if you ask me, do I feel the contract itself is needed and warranted, I would say yes. The rate, again, the rate is what has been the practice.
And and with that contract, what's next? I mean, are we creating a TPR, a training program? So when that next person to train leaves, then what? Then we go into another contract?
No, sir. What we're trying to do, again, this was not an anticipated retirement, right? And, you know, as we've stated, and I identified, if you'll go back to, was that December or January, when I put forth to mayor and council a memo outlining some concerns and recommendations. One of those was that we are not sufficiently prepared to handle turnover in our departments. We are not cross-trained sufficiently. We have not in the past documented practices and procedures. Those are all things that we're working on trying to address. Unfortunately, it takes time to do so. And as much as I would love to have been in a position to address this and have somebody fully trained and ready to go, that is simply not the case. And unfortunately, in this case, we had back-to-back retirements so that, you know, Mr. McDuffie was anticipated to move to a higher position and was well trained and equipped to do that. So we ended up with a kind of a 1-2 punch, and we're having to play some catch-up. It's not intended as an excuse. It's a statement of fact.
So how are we growing our people?
Depends on the department and the position, sir. You know,
What's the expectation?
So all of our departments are, for lack of a better term, I refer to them as hit by the bus books, right? So I want all of our key positions to have those so that if nothing else, if we have a surprise, or if somebody just, oh wow, somebody just went out sick, they're coming back, but somebody has got to perform this function, you can at least refer to the book. At the same time, looking for cross-training opportunities where we can, because we do have in some of our key positions, you know, an aging workforce.
So if it's not documented as people are growing or however we're doing it, how do we justify promotions? So
we know the duties and responsibilities that have to be, excuse me, let me get that out of his way. We know the duties and responsibilities that people have. We know the jobs that have to be performed. Some of the things we don't know are the processes that various individuals have been using. In the case of Mr. McDuffie, there are placements of valves, of pipes, and et cetera throughout the city that have not been documented. We saw that with the break that occurred just a couple of weeks ago, where we had to spend a lot of time exploring to discover where that pipe actually was, right? So it's not that we don't know what is required to do a job. It's not that we don't know the responsibilities. It's how has that individual been performing that? Who are the contacts that individual is utilizing, either within the organization or with other organizations such as the county or the state. These are common practices in many organizations. Unfortunately, in many, and ours is one of them, they have not been documented. And so that is something that we are working on, but it takes time.
That's per that conversation you and I had
Yes.
when I asked you about roles, responsibilities, training, and growing our people and stuff.
So it sounds like this has been a topic of discussion a few times lately, and we know where we are. We've come a long way in the time that we all have been here together serving on in this chamber, but we still have work to do. So when it comes to employees who have retired coming back to assist us with operations, they do it under a contract, and we've had this happen a few times while I've been here anyway. So this is another example of an area that we know we can improve on, but kind of is what it is right now. But moving forward, we also have tasked ourselves with some of the things that you've suggested, the stuff that Mr. Drinkard has suggested, and doing this succession planning, which GMA came and talked to us about that too, and we're turning around that ship. So just wanted to provide a little bit of clarity that whenever we have an employee who does retire or leave us and they have a special expertise that we need to close a gap, that they usually do come back as needed under a contract for a specific period of time. So just wanted to give that clarification so council can hear and also all of you can hear kind of the basis of why we do this.
Correct. Those are all very accurate statements, Mayor. And, one of the things that we do with these contracts now, and it was something that, I insisted on, was that we have an end date in the contracts. Historically, there hasn't been one. They could go on in perpetuity. It's always a hard word for me. But now we're putting end dates on them. I'm pushing the directors to get the work done as quickly as possible, so we're minimizing our expenditures. And we're doing this sparingly, because it's not the ideal way.
I don't, and again, no, this is no jab at Mr. McDuffie. It's just about standardization. That's my only concern. Nothing to do, because I know how great he is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mr. McDuffie was an excellent employee, always has been. Like I said, we've got to capture what's in his head.
And I wanted to also ask a question in this regard. Are we currently doing things in a way that, say, 20 years from now, we'll know where something is? I mean, I'm assuming that we've improved in technology and mapping and locations of things, and I'm looking at the main man back there on the back row as far as knowing where all the bodies are, pretty much. But that's a great need, and I'm assuming that we're doing that.
Yes, sir. It is something that we're working on, and Monty and his team have been working hard on it. He's got a lot of it. We just weren't quite there yet. We're also working to get more of it in GIS-based systems, and ideally, I want to be able to tie those maps into our inventory and accounting systems so that we can better tell you how much value we have in the ground, let's say with our water sewer system, and track as we're replacing a given valve, a given pipe section. So that's historically noted in there and mapped.
That's exactly what I was asking. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, any other items? All right, so let's move on to work session item B, which is the proposed alcohol ordinance amendments. Mr. Drinker's going to give us a summary on that. And this is a new topic that council, we've not discussed together yet. You've heard about it individually, potentially, but not as a group.
Correct. And excuse me. This is consistent with kind of that new process we've been talking about, where we'll introduce some of the more complicated items or some of the items for which we're looking for guidance and direction. We'll bring those to you under a workshop item. We're not asking for action tonight. We're asking for guidance. We're asking for feedback. And this is the first of those. So we have seen a lot of activity with respect to retail packaged alcohol sales in the city. That seems to be increasing. And there has been some concern with respect to how much of that is occurring within the public interest and welfare. And so Mayor and Council asked us to look at some ordinance changes that may help us better address. And so what we're proposing is an amendment to the alcohol ordinance that would add some additional review criteria. And it's literally would be in there as other criteria to be considered. And I'm going to take these out of order just to address kind of how I think some of our residents may be most interested. The first of these would be to establish a minimum distance requirement of 2,000 feet between such establishments. And that would be measured property line to property line in a direct line, right? That is significantly higher than we see in some locations, but we believe it would be appropriate, especially based on some of the feedback we've gotten from our residents and their concerns. It also allows for us to look at the suitability of the premises and the site. This gets into things like traffic patterns, the ability of law enforcement and first responders to quickly respond to any incidents that may occur at a given location. The structure itself, how it's constructed and designed. It also allows us to look at events within the past 12 months that may have occurred within 100 yards of a proposed location that could propose or could pose unreasonable risk to the public. Now, it's important to note that as drafted, it would not necessarily require that those events be directly related to the owner of the business or the business itself. It is the environment into which that location is being proposed. It allows us to look at the applicant's reputation, character, mental and physical condition. Are they going to be a suitable proprietor for this type of business? And also allows us to look at any previous violations of law or regulation relating to any existing or previous alcohol-related businesses that purveyor may have involvement in, either as an owner or as a significant manager of the operation. Let's see. Revocation of any previous alcohol licenses, things of that nature. So there's a lot that we're trying to address here. There are some things that you may be interested in that we are not able to address with this particular ordinance amendment It would need to be addressed in our development codes and our land use codes. And so it has to come forward in a different way. It has to follow the Zoning Procedures Act, would have to go through advertised public hearings, pass through the Planning Commission, and then come to you. Those would be things like minimum lot sizes, minimum square footage requirements, things of that nature. There's also some requirements, or we looked at the potential for requiring that it could only be located in this standalone building. It could not be part of a retail strip center, for instance. However, you could look at the opportunity to say that only applies, well, that applies generally in the city, but not in certain types of districts. You may have what would commonly be referred to as an entertainment district, in which, hey, we're fine with that. But anything like that would have to be part of a change to the development code. We're looking at those things separately because we knew that there was a lot of interest in moving as quickly as possible to get an ordinance like this in front of you to address some of these criteria. So that's what we were focused on. I'll be happy to take any questions, and if I can't handle them, I know Ms. Mize will be able to assist.
Mr. Drinkard, what on the distance requirements, what establishments are we talking about as far as trying to separate them from? Is it just schools? Are we talking schools and churches?
So this one, as written, would only separate it from each other. So a retail package alcohol store and a retail package alcohol store. We can look at things that would require separation from other things. However, something to keep in mind, there are distance requirements as defined under state law, and we have to be very careful as we play with that, because we can get crosswise. And now I'm playing in the law, so I'm going to turn to Ms. Mize.
No, I just wanted to concur that those distance requirements are codified in state law, and I think they're incorporated into our city code, so those would not be affected at all. Right.
I knew we had some distance requirements already, but those are state mandated
Yes,
distances.
sir. As to locations of schools, churches, and other types
Right.
of places, there are restrictions, and we follow the state law on that.
Gotcha.
So this would be a new distance requirement
So this is
only.
a separation type ordinance. And then I know you're talking about alcohol. Or what have we put into consideration in these new things popping up everywhere called vape shops?
Yes, sir. We actually have some draft ordinances that are working their way. Again, those, the way we're addressing those, we had to start off by creating a definition, and then that definition plays around with some of these same types of distance requirements, limits the types of locations, gets into size requirements. And that was not something we had anything in the code to work from or add on. And so that is having to be addressed through the Land Use Code and go through the Zoning Procedures Act. I believe, Mr. Curtis isn't where I can see him, I believe those are also slated for October? September. Okay, those are coming forward in September to the Planning Commission.
Great. Hey, thank you very much. I'm glad you're addressing both of those.
Yes, sir.
Maybe I may have missed it, but did we talk about fees, increasing fees for these establishments?
We don't have that in this. We have a more holistic review of our fee structures that is underway right now. And our intent was to complete that analysis and bring all of the fee structures forward for you later this year.
Because I think that'll mitigate some of these smaller ones a little bit, you know.
I just wanted to add that these are just additional criteria which are in the public safety, and the only reason that we are allowed to put in additional restrictions is because it is an exercise of police powers in the interest of public safety. So these criteria are solely focused on the issuance of the license to whomever is going to be the proprietor of the business. So we kind of narrowly focused it on keeping it within the exercise of that power. But again, if the increase of fees, the land use, those are also being considered, but this particular ordinance is focused pretty narrowly on some additional factors in the public interest. I can tell you that Macon, Bibb County has a similar section with these factors, as does the city of Noonan. So we would not be the only municipality or county, city, to have similar kinds of criteria to look at in the issuance of an alcohol license.
And
Thank you,
again,
Attorney
we're
Miller.
also trying to move as quickly as possible in getting some things in front of you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions about the alcohol ordinance amendments that are being currently considered?
Are
All
there
right.
any tweaks or adjustments that you would like made before we could, because our current plan would be to have this on the September 15th agenda for consideration?
On the restaurant side of it, I know there's a percentage base for alcohol sales. Are we considering that different? Because
We are not currently working on anything with respect to correct, it's package only, not by the drink.
And if you do think of any changes or additions afterwards, you can always email me or call me, and I'm happy to incorporate those notes.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you. All right, so we've now just concluded the work session items A and B. We're now going to move on, as we normally start our 5:30 council meeting sessions in chambers. We'll start with announcements, and I guess the only announcement I have is congratulations to the Warner Robins Demons for winning the Warner Robins Northside game. Okay, you can applause now. And as promised, I'm wearing my Warner Robins polo shirt that was sent over to me by the man in charge at Warner Robins High School, the principal. Thank you for this shirt that I'm wearing. But I'm still an Eagle at heart. It's in my heart. It's deep down inside of me, even though I'm wearing this shirt. And I also made sure I wore a blazer to match the Warner Robins High School colors. So congratulations to the football team.
It doesn't look good on you, by the way.
We take our rivalry seriously here at council.
It's quite disgusting.
So that concludes the announcements, and now we're going to move on to proclamations, awards, and presentations. We have 3 items listed. We have one is a swearing in for an animal control officer, Ethan Hurt. Is Officer Hurt present? Wonderful. And then we have 2 recognitions for individuals at Warner Robins High School. So we'll start with the swearing in of Officer Ethan Hurt. And you came in without me even having to call you. You are ready to officially be a part of the Warner Robins family. So I'm going to come and we're going to do our oath, and then we'll move on to our recognitions. Thank you, Mr. Fermin. Okay, so in front of you, we have a copy of the oath. Copy of the oath we're going to be going over today. You're going to be repeating after me. You're going to be raising your right hand. And when I start speaking, just pay attention to where I stop, because I may not do the whole paragraph. So just pay attention where I stop, and where you see I and it has your name listed, I'm just going to say I and keep reading. But you make sure you say your name. Okay? Nice, quick and easy. And I see you have some family members that came to get a closer look. Feel free to take as many pictures as you like of him doing his oath. Okay, so if you please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I hereby swear or affirm
I, Ethan Hurt, hereby swear or affirm
that I will faithfully, fairly, and without malice or
that I will faithfully, fairly, and without malice
partiality
or partiality
uphold the laws of the state of Georgia,
uphold the laws of the state of Georgia,
as well as any ordinances
as well as any ordinances
which I am authorized to enforce.
which I am authorized authorize to enforce,
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability,
and support
and support,
and defend the Constitution of the United States
and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of Georgia.
and the Constitution of Georgia.
I further swear or affirm
I further swear or affirm
that I am not the holder of any unaccounted for public money
that I am not the holder of any unaccounted money,
for public money.
public money,
You find it? You know where we are?
unaccounted
Yep.
for public money,
Due the state of Georgia
due to the state of Georgia,
or any political subdivision or authority thereof.
or any political subdivision or authority thereof.
I further swear or affirm
I further swear or affirm
that I am not the holder of any office of trust
that I am not the holder of any office of trust
under the government of the United States,
under the government of the United States,
any other state,
any other state,
or any foreign state,
or any foreign state,
which I am by the laws of the state of Georgia
which I am by the laws of the state of Georgia
prohibited from holding.
prohibited from holding.
I further swear or affirm
I further swear or affirm
that I am qualified to hold the office of Animal Control Officer
that I am qualified to hold the office of Animal Control Officer
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and the laws of the state of Georgia,
and the laws of the state of Georgia,
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Georgia.
and the Constitution of the state of Georgia.
I further swear or affirm
I further swear or affirm
that I will obey all the laws of the city of Warner Robins,
that I will obey all the laws of the city of Warner Robins,
the state of Georgia,
the state of Georgia,
any other state,
any other state,
and the United States of America, so help me God.
and the United States of America, so help me God.
Congratulations, you're officially a part of the family. Welcome. Okay. All right. So now we're going to take a picture. We're going to turn around and hold it up like you're so proud to show your mommy or your family. Congratulations, welcome. Chief. All right, so now we have a recognition of two individuals. We have Dr. Veronica Sanders here with us today, and also Joy Sanders. I'm going to ask if they'll both come forward, and I'll tell you, Dr. Veronica Sanders, though she does not look it, she actually taught me. And usually when we hear about someone teaching someone, it's always Councilman Holmes, who taught everybody. But this time, I can say that she taught me when I was a senior at the Northside High School, and I went over to Warner Robins for horticulture, and she's phenomenal. She taught me something, my class something, and I still think of it now in my 40s. So that's how much she's impacted me. And she said she'd always tell our class, You determine your destiny. So when I was class president of my class, I had to do a speech at my graduation, and I included her quote way back then, and I talk about it now in my current role. So thank you, Dr. Sanders, for who you are and what you mean to individuals all over our state, our country, who came through your horticulture class at Warner Robins High School. And I went through in 2000 and 2001, and I still remember you. So I'm going to try to announce what these awards are, and then I think you're going to speak,
Okay.
right? Unless you want to say the whole thing, because I might
I
mess it
really
up.
don't want to say that.
Okay. All right, so Dr. Veronica Sanders, again, this is her. Let's give her a round of applause again. Okay, so we have the 2025 GVATA NAAE Outstanding Service Award and the 30-Minute Club Award. Both awards recognize accomplished educators in agriculture, and I believe she won both of them. Did you?
That's Joy's.
Okay, so the ones that I just mentioned are yours?
Yes.
Wonderful. So this is outstanding, and this is something that the whole state went for, and you won because you're the best. So congratulations on your 2 awards, Dr. Sanders. And I think they said you want to say some words, so we know. Did you know that? You're never short of words. Okay. You have to just reach because that thing's coming.
Okay. Hello, everybody. That was really weak. Hello, everybody. Hi. Wonderful. Well, the GVAT Award for NAAE is the National Organization of Agriculture Educators, and I was privileged to win that award for outstanding service that I've contributed to on the national, state, and local level to agriculture teachers, teachers just alike, and students across this world. So I'm blessed to receive that honor, and I'm really excited about that. Thank you so much. Okay. Well, the next thing that I'd like to recognize would be my student, Joy Sanders. And yes, she does look like me because she's my child, but she's not recognized because she's my child. She's recognized because she's an excellent student. And this is the year of 2025. And this year thus far, she has earned over 25 awards. That would be my first time teaching that I've had a student to win that many awards in 1 year, and we're not finished yet. Y'all can give a round of applause for that. She won 8 awards at the regional science fair, some of those things being from Yale and such. She was the only student from Houston County that went to ISEF, that is the International Science Fair. She competed with her team at the Estimathon, and they did win. She was also a student that was showing livestock, because you already know that I teach agriculture, and she placed in the top 10 in her class at NJSA, and that's the National Junior Swine Association, and she also competed at the state livestock show, which she was in the top 10 in her heat, as well as the Georgia State Livestock Show, which she was 10 in her heat. She also was the state finalist in agri-science and in extemporaneous speaking, as well as being the state star in agri-science, and she represented the Central Region. Only 3 people in the state competed on, well, advanced to the top 3, and she was one in the top 3. You can give a round of applause for that also. At the local banquet, she also earned like 4 awards. She has the Principals Award, she's won academic awards, and she also won some awards with ROTC. And I'm very honored and privileged to bring her to this meeting, but I think it's so important that we encourage our children. All of our children need the motivation to know that they can fly, and having the ability to be an educator for 32 years has given me the ability to encourage all students to know that all things are possible. So if you're in education, I want to give you a shout out, and also I just want to recognize Mrs. Joy Sanders for all of the contributions in which she has made this year, not just on the national level, not just the international level, but the state and local level as well. Congratulations, Joy.
Long time.
All right, so now that we have concluded the proclamations, awards, and presentations, we will now go back to the top and request an adoption of the agenda with a change to number 6 to be presented by Councilman Lawrenson, and a change to number 10 to be presented by Councilman Lashley.
Mayor, I move to adopt the agenda with the changes of part of number 6 to be read by myself, and to move item number 10 to be read by Councilman Lashley. Is that correct? All right, that's the motion.
And I second that, Mayor.
Motion by Councilman Lawrenson, seconded by Councilman Mack. All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Aye. Motion carries. All right, so now we have made it to the formal public comments section of this agenda. If you are here and you would like to make a comment, if you have a concern or a statement about any agenda item listed on this document, then now is your opportunity to speak. So if you have something to say about item number 3 through 14, you can approach the podium. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes on the clock. Please note that neither council nor I will respond to you, but we are listening to you. And for everyone else who'd like to make a comment, then you will have an opportunity at the end of the agenda to make your voices heard about things outside of these 2 pages of this agenda. The floor is now open for comments about agenda items.
Good evening. I'm Keith Newton, representing Caleb Properties. on the rezoning matter tonight. I appreciate everybody's effort in working through it. I would respectfully ask just to table it at this time so we can sit down, go through some things, and figure things out. I would like the council to know the property has been in our family for probably close to 50 years. And we were instrumental in Quarter Road. We worked with the city on putting Quarter Road through there. So there's a lot of history. But at the same time, I understand and respect the city and the situations, and I know we can come up with an amicable solution for both of us. So I respectfully ask to be tabled at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Newton. Will there be any others? Going once, going twice, the door is now closed. Now moving on to item number 3, which is the consent agenda to be discussed by Councilman Lashley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Item A is the August 18, 2025 minutes, which we've all had plenty of time to review. B is a resolution of the Georgia Municipal Association. C, a resolution for the safety program amendment. D, a resolution for Ardura Engineering Services MSA extension. E, resolution for natural gas sales agreement with Frito-Lay. F, resolution for ballistic armor defense and equipment from LLC contract amendment. G, a resolution for Placer AI. H is our purchasing items, which include Community and Economic Development, TriStar America, $117,000. Item H2 is General Administration, One Source Office Products, $33,264. Item 3 is General Administration, Una Solutions, Ion Wave, which is $25,815. And item 4 is General Administration, Insight HPE Switch. It's $13,383.19. Item 5 is Utilities, Ferguson Waterworks, $39,471.05. And item 6 is Utilities, Ferguson Waterworks, $67,943.66. And I make a motion to approve.
I second that motion.
Motion by Councilman Lashley, seconded by Councilman Holmes. Any discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
The motion carries unanimously. Item number 4 is an ordinance for the Chapter 2 section of our code to be read by Councilman Mack.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve the ordinance to amend Chapter 2, Article 2, Section 2-26 of the Code of the City of Warner Robins relating to meetings. And I'd like to waive the second reading, and the full ordinance is online.
I'll second that.
Motion by Councilman Mack, waiving the second reading, seconded by Councilman Lawrenson. Any discussion? This ordinance will have the structure of our meetings match similar to what you saw today. So if it passes, then we used to have the pre-council in the Carolyn Robbins room. We will now start here, and then we'll do a work session as you saw us do, and then go into the regular agenda items as we do every time we come in the chambers, just to clarify. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 5 is an ordinance for annexation for Grove Park developers to be discussed by Councilman Holmes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have before me a motion to approve the ordinance for annexation requested by Grove Park developers for 45.69 acres to include all right-of-ways directly south of Dover Meadow subdivision, east of Tower Estates subdivision, west of Air Park Estates subdivision, and north of the Willow subdivision, also known as tax parcel 00077010100 and 000770102,000. And I request that we waive the second reading. I move for the adoption.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilman Holmes, waiving the second reading, seconded by Councilman Lashley. Any discussion?
Mayor, did we, I know we didn't get a chance to discuss a lot because we only had a couple of items, but this is one of the items, does anybody know the direct purpose of this annexation or why we're doing this?
Councilman, as was the case with the prior discussion, we do not have a specific proposal with respect to this. It is intended, the intent is obviously residential, but we don't have, conceptual site plans or anything of that nature. Again, it's not currently required under our code.
But it will be single-family homes.
Yeah, and that's the current zoning, but it's just county, right?
It is.
So we're not
currently zoned
changing
under
the
county. The staff recommendation is to keep it consistent with the county zoning at, I believe it's R2. The residents of that area, as it was being discussed with the Planning Commission during public comment, residents of neighboring neighborhoods,
right,
requested it be downzoned to R1, but Planning Commission did remain consistent with the R2. One of the items that is not clear at this point is how the specific property would be accessed. That's going to be something we're going to have to keep a close eye on as it does come forward with the site plan.
10-4, and we're good on sewer, Monty, are there? We okay with the sewer there?
Vic, could you come forward, please?
Are we okay with the sewer on that?
Vic is giving a thumbs up. Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 6, ordinance for annexation for the Donraj Properties LLC, to be discussed by Councilman Lawrenson.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to motion to approve the ordinance for annexation requested by Donraj Properties LLC for 13.38 acres located between Sutherland Drive and South Houston Lake Drive, south of Highway 96 and north of Cohen Walker Drive, also known as tax parcel 0007802270000. And I'd also like to waive the second reading.
And I'll second that, Mayor.
Motion by Councilman Lawrenson, waiving the second reading, seconded by Councilman Mack. Any discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. The Part 2, which is a rezoning petition of the same parcel, will be discussed by Councilman Lawrenson.
Thank you, Mayor. I would also like to motion to approve rezoning requests for the same property from C2 General Commercial to R4 Multifamily Residential.
I'll second it, Mayor.
Motion by Councilman Lawrenson, seconded by Councilman Mack. Any discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 7 is a motion for rezoning petition for Robbins Royal Hospitality, 5.3 acres, to be discussed by Councilman Lashley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I make a motion to approve the rezoning request from Robbins Royalty Hospitality for 5.303 acres located at 2024 Watson Boulevard from C2 General Commercial District to R4 Multifamily Residential District.
I second that motion.
Motion by Councilman Lashley, seconded by Councilman Holmes. Any discussion? All right. I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 8 is a motion for rezoning petition for Robbins Royal Hospitality, 0.2 acres, to be discussed by Councilman Mack.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve the rezoning request from Robbins Royal Hospitality of .226 acres located at parcel 2A-2024 Watson Boulevard from C2 General Commercial District to R4 Multifamily Residential District.
And I'll second.
Motion by Councilman Mack, seconded by Councilman Lawrenson. Any discussion?
Mayor, if I could, just for the benefit of the public, this particular item relates to the Ramada Inn on Watson Boulevard and is a conversion of the existing structure from its current hotel use to a multifamily residential use. The structure itself will be renovated and converted.
Thank you, Mr. Rickard. I was gonna definitely say that, but this is, no, it's good for you to say it, but it's definitely a very nice proposal before us. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 9 is a motion for rezoning petition of Caleb Properties LLC, 24.22 acres, to be discussed by Councilman Holmes.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. First of all, I'd like to say that I've known Keith Newton for most of those 50 years, and he's not that old, but I'll say it anyway. And I move that we table item number 9 for the Caleb Properties on Quarter Road.
I agree, Mr. Holmes. I don't know if we have to second a motion like that, do we?
Yeah,
Yes, I thought I said let's table. I guess I didn't say table.
No, you did.
How long would you like to take? To the next meeting, 30 days?
Let's say 30 days.
In which case you don't have to put a specific. Yeah, so, I'm sorry, I'm sitting here whispering things. Procedurally, you can table it to a date specific, or you can simply defer it. If you defer it, it gives time for staff to work with the applicant to satisfy any requirements that have been discussed tonight.
And then also the possible changes in how we do things that you were referring to, right?
No, sir. Because the application came forward in advance of those changes, it is considered to be in process.
Okay.
And would, the current code would apply to this, not any changes that are made since the application.
But we can still mitigate some concerns, right?
Absolutely.
That's all I want to know. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So it would be better probably to defer it to give a little more time to do that.
Is Councilman Holmes' motion?
I'm about to say, I'm hearing the council. What's your pleasure? I heard defer, so I move that we defer item number 9 for a period of at least 30 days.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilman Holmes, seconded by Councilman Lashley. Any discussion?
Mayor, thanks to the council for your input.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 10 is a motion for rezoning petition, Castaway Self-Storage and Car Wash, to be discussed by Councilman Lashley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I make a motion to approve the rezoning request from Castaway Self-Storage and Car Wash for 7.44 acres from C2 General Commercial District to R4 Multifamily Residential District.
I second that motion.
Motion by Councilman Lashley, seconded by Councilman Holmes. Any discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 11 is a motion for a plan development amendment to be discussed by Councilman Lawrenson.
Thank you, Mayor. I motion to approve the PDR zoning concept revision for the Southland Station Townhome development for elimination of the previously required sidewalk along the outer perimeter of the development.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Motion by Councilman Lawrenson, seconded by Councilman Mack. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am. I believe several meetings ago, we fully discussed this and how that wasn't needed in that particular location, as well as the foot traffic. There was another pattern for that. Am I correct? I think we all agreed in that work session. So that's why I recommended approval.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 12 is a resolution for a purchase and sale agreement to be discussed by Councilman Holmes.
Thank you, Mayor. I have before me, again, a motion to approve the resolution to authorize Mayor LaRonda W. Patrick to negotiate and execute a purchase and sales agreement with the Philip Herbert H. Credit Shelter Trust on 1001 South Houston Avenue. I move for the adoption.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilman Holmes, seconded by Councilman Lashley. Any discussion? Just for clarification, the property is located at 1001 Young Avenue, not South Young Avenue. And this is a part of Commercial Circle, the back part of Commercial Circle. Another building as we further our plans for redeveloping our Commercial Circle area. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 13 is a resolution for temporary construction easement to be discussed by Councilman Mack.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution to authorize to execute a temporary construction easement for City of Warner Robins property by and through the railroad track spur for the purpose of locating, constructing, improving, grading, landscaping, and other necessary work, including the operation of equipment and the movement of a workforce over upon and across the described easement, together with the right of ingress and egress.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilman Mack, seconded by Councilman Lawrenson. Any discussion? This area is inside of one of our industrial parks, closer to the 247 area, Booth Road and beyond, near the police training center that's currently being renovated, reconstructed. And we had a building that's been there forever, vacant, that recently has been purchased, and a business will go into this building, and there is a railroad spur that needs to be activated for them to move, I'll just say cargo, for lack of a better term. My question is, just for clarification, and I need a chief or Mr. Drinkert to weigh in on this one. In order for this company to activate the rail spur, it will impact the entry and access point to our police training facility. We've had meetings on this, so my question is, was a new point of access constructed and completed so that we have access to the training center without any obstruction?
Yes, ma'am. The access point has not yet been constructed. The county is working with us on that. This is coming forward at this time because while we have things under construction out there, the rail spur is not going to be activated for quite some time. But allowing this temporary construction easement to come forward at this time allows them to mobilize on site and work their site plans all at the same time instead of taking equipment off-site and then bringing it back at a later date. So this is just a more efficient way to do it, but the understandings and agreements that are in place would be that the rail spur itself cannot be activated until the alternative access point is complete and available for use.
Thank you, Mr. Drinkard.
Yes, ma'am.
Chief, you're good? All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 14 is a resolution for a consulting agreement to be discussed by Councilman Lashley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I make a motion to approve the resolution to authorize Mayor LaRonda W. Patrick to execute a contract with Joey McDuffie. Duties include, but are not limited to, training a successor, assistance with record reporting, and operations support to the Utilities Department.
I second that motion.
Motion by Councilman Lashley, seconded by Councilman Holmes. Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor. I'd like to, going forward with these type of issues, that we base our rate based on the scope of work and what's needed instead of just a blanket rate based upon what we've done in the past.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. All right, that concludes our numbered sections of our agenda. We now open the floor to citizen comments. If anyone would like to make a comment, you have a question or concern or something you'd like to share, you may approach the podium. Please state your name and address for the record. You will have 3 minutes on the clock, and that door is now open. Also, again, please note that neither council nor I can respond to you, but we are listening.
Alrighty. Hello, everyone. I'm Lowell Richardson. I'm at 2104 Alberta Road. As you know, the road's under construction. We have a tremendous amount of traffic that has increased over the past few years, and we've got an ongoing problem of loud music from cars passing by. Decibels increased about 90 decibels, probably, some cars. This occurs mainly from about 7 a.m. to about 10 or 11. It'll go on all through the night, sometimes on the weekends. I've called to try to get something done about it. I've tried to get tag numbers, can't do anything about that. But when we're sitting in our living room trying to watch TV and somebody comes by and you have to turn the TV up because you can't hear it, I'm 100 feet off the road. It becomes a problem, and I'm sure it bothers other people that live across in Kennedy Court. But you know, I looked up, and I rarely see anybody pulled over for anything like that, even speeding. We have cars that speed, but that's another thing. But I just, you know, have tried to, you know, get something done about it, and you know, it's nice to have peace and quiet because we are entitled to quiet enjoyment of our homes. But when somebody comes by when they're blasting the stereo and they've got the windows wide open, and there's somebody comes by about 3 o'clock every morning, sometimes 4 o'clock, I can't jump up and go get a tag number. Maybe if we had an officer that would be dedicated to at least patrol back and forth around those times to try to stop them. But that's my concern. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Councilmen. My name is Jennifer Duffy. I am with the Warner Robins Little Theater. I'm a board member there. And I am here to talk to you tonight about Decision Height. That is a play that I am currently directing. This show is very important to our community because, as I mentioned in the last council meeting, we are at the 80th anniversary of World War II. Decision Height is about the Women's Air Force Service pilots who served during World War II. It's a very underrepresented group of individuals who served in a great time of need. It took them over 30 years to be recognized by the military for their contribution, and we're bringing that story to life. Our show dates are the 13th through the 28th. That is Saturday through Sunday at the end of the month. Friday and Saturday shows start at 7:30. The theater opens at 7 for patrons to come in. Sunday matinees, they are at 2:30. Yes, and so doors open 1 hour before showtime, and you can purchase your tickets at Warner Robins Little Theater.com. That is WRLITTLETHEATRE.com. So yeah, it's a little bit different. So I wanted to make sure we got the RE at the end. So we would love to see everyone here at our performances. These ladies are working very hard to bring this story to life. And like I said, this is an underrepresented group of women, and they serve their country well, and we are bringing that story to life. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Duffy. Appreciate it.
Good afternoon, council members. Can you hear me well? My name is Chris Holston. I reside at 100 Robbins West Parkway here in Warner Robins. I just wanted to give a quick update. I am a founder of a federal advising bureau whose primary initiative is to increase the amount of revenue in cities in this country for the residents that are paying on their bills and utilities and are trying to live daily functioning lives. Initially, or the last meeting that we had here, I tried to make time to present my campaign for mayorship. Due to the fact that I am one, and also on disability, I had to present the front office or chamber with a pauperous affidavit of 500 signatures, and I fell short. And unfortunately, that's okay, because I'm also continuing to push forward to denote the campaign of my federal advising bureau into the Mayor Patrick's initiative. Upon sequestering the numbers from said bureau, just as a quick update, I'll make sure I speak later, and I'll follow through with emails. There are 11 cities in this state that's above 80,000 people. So the initial numbers that could be potentially increased into the city of 3 million and above can not only be increased into this city, but in another 10 cities in this state. I will be presenting to information with said governors, and I will be using the 9,000 residents in this city alone to fill those signatures for the next 3 years to campaign for mayor. It was never my job to compete. It's only my job to compare and provide solutions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Holston. Will there be any others? Going once, going twice. The door is now closed. Thank you all for your comments and taking the time to make sure your voices are heard here in the city of Warner Robins. We now have on our agenda executive session for real estate, but I'm going to request if we could amend the agenda to do council comments prior to us making a motion to exit for executive session to discuss real estate.
Mayor, I motion and move to amend the agenda to move the council comments before the actual executive session on real estate. Council and mayor comments.
And I'll second that.
Motion by Councilman Lawrenson, seconded by Councilman Mack. All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. We're off track, but I'm going to go with Councilman Holmes to go first.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to all of the citizens that are present tonight. Thank you, Pastor Kervin, for bringing prayer and blessings to this chamber tonight. And he also brought prayer and turned my church out last Wednesday night during the revival. We love him. We always love and appreciate him. I also had the pleasure of visiting the Winning Church. We had the pleasure of visiting the Winning Church. And I have to give Pastor B and his congregation for the beautiful service and recognition they gave to us. And they started something on that day. The recognition of elected officials, which I think was agreed upon by the church, that this will become an annual recognition and service. And so I want to be sure we recognize them. Recognize again all of the citizens that came before tonight and stayed before tonight and brought issues before us tonight. We heard you, and we will take action on them.
Thank you, Councilman Holmes. Councilman Mack.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. I thought it was going to come that way. Save the demon for last, huh? Anyway, I want to echo Councilman Holmes' sentiments about the Winning Church on Sunday. We had a lot of elected officials in our local market, and we made a joyful noise, and I thoroughly enjoyed the message, and I think everyone else there did. I enjoyed Charlie Bibb dancing at the altar. So thank you for him for recognizing us, but also I want to deploy something that's dear to my heart and ask people to manage their emotions, because what happened over on Tom Chapman really disturbed me somewhat. If someone provokes you, you don't always have to react. There's dignity and restraint. And to make such a final decision to do certain things with a temporary moment in your life is just devastating. And as violence rises across the country, we got to do something about managing our emotions. We have to do self-checks in that regard. We all can go through things that may create tension, but when it becomes contentious and personal, nothing good comes out of that. So that's something that's been on my heart all week and all weekend, to the point where I just really just wanted to stay home, because it's just out of control, and they think us as elected officials and the police officers are supposed to manage people's emotions. That's not what we're here for. So I don't know if we need more parenting or what it is that we have to do, but that's my prayer upon our city, that we mitigate those issues as far as violence in our streets. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Mack. Councilman Lawrenson.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. And as Councilman Mack had brought this up, I've noticed an increase in family violence across our city and nation, and I think there's direct correlation to this and mental illness. And you know, I would definitely like to advocate for more mental health services and more mental health support for not just Warner Robins, but the state of Georgia and the entire nation. That is definitely one of the big issues, I think, facing our country. And I think we have to do something. I think in times past, we have really approached this with more care. I'm 60, and I can recall a time where, not saying it was perfect, but where we had more mental health services and places to support this. And so I certainly think we can do it. I've noticed over the last 20 years it really declined. And I'm sure it's because of the cost and governors and things wanting to, cut back and cut services and things, but we desperately need this. Lives depend on it. Innocent lives, not just that person, but the people around them, and it affects everybody. So I certainly would advocate for that and support increased spending in that area for sure. Also want to congratulate Mr. Mack, Mr. Holmes, for qualifying and being unopposed. And I look forward to serving with you guys for 4 more years. And now I want to call everyone to get behind Mayor Patrick and support her wholeheartedly. She's done a great job. She's been a fantastic mayor. I've been in Warner Robins a long time, and I will say that, Mayor, you've had one of the best 4-year runs I've seen, and I say that with all sincerity. We love you, we support you, and we're gonna serve 4 more years with you as well. So thank you, Mayor. God bless.
Thank you, Councilman Lawrenson. And Councilman Lashley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, it was actually I think it was a pretty good weekend in general for sports. We had Veterans won, Warner Robins won, Houston County won. Somebody had to lose in that game. I mean, I think I was trying to keep up with it when I was looking at it through the Sports Mic app and everything. And for a while there, I think it was going to be a battle of who wanted to lose. But it ends up, my alma mater came out on top as usual. And no, just kidding. Just messing with you two. But no, it's great to go out and see the enthusiasm and the drive. That game was always the game when I grew up. I mean, I hate that it's not played around Thanksgiving anymore, but I understand it when you're in different divisions, different regions, everything. It's just difficult. But to maintain the battles that we have within the city is fun. All 4 schools get to play each other. I hope it stays that way forever. And I think most of them play Perry too. So we did HOCO did their job, took care of Perry last week for y'all. So, but other than that, the fall activity guide is out, and this highlights all of the athletics we have, the programs for seniors, all of our special events, health and wellness facilities and parks. It's a beautiful magazine. It's got a picture of the mayor in it right there, if you're collecting those at home like I do. But it's a great program, a great magazine that shows you exactly what our city has to offer, all walks of life in this city. So I recommend picking them up. I'll be selling them out of my car later if y'all want to buy them, but you can get them for free other places. But if you come to the car, you get a special edition. No, just kidding. Where can we pick those up?
Councilman, we have those at our recreation facilities. We have some here at City Hall. We did print a limited number. They're also available online via our website, and we're promoting it via our social media channels. We're really proud of it. It's the first one that we've done.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And just be sure, because I'm sure you have an online application where you can go in and look at it too. But be sure to pick one up or pull it up online and find out where you can send your kids, where you can go, where your own parents, and what's available to you. Because most of the people, when I hear they talk about, you know what, we should have this. Well, we actually do have it, and most people just don't know about it. We got to do a little bit more on the promotion of what we do, but we do a lot more than we did when I was a kid. That's for sure. So go in, check it out. It's very well done, whether you get the digital copy or the hard copy. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Lashley. And you're right. So one thing that we don't do enough of, in my opinion, are the adult sports leagues, because we have some in here. Adult volleyball, fall softball. I think we do okay with the softball. Adult flag football, and co-ed basketball, just to name some. I want to see us do more adult sports here for the younger professionals who have moved here, give them something to do. So keep that in your mind. Let's do some adult sports. And I'm for one, going to start a flag football team. I'm just kidding. I'm not. It took me a month to recover from the last time I played. And I have 4 more years of work to do with these gentlemen. I got to stay healthy. So. But still, I think you all should do it. And we got to put a picture of council with the airplane on this one. We got to have our guys in here too. We got to have the whole family. But yeah, domestic violence, all of us have mentioned it. It's something that everybody is talking about across our nation. We are not unique. Macon's not unique when it comes to the domestic violence or anywhere else. Even Johns Creek, for goodness sake, had a domestic violence issue, a murder-suicide that just occurred this week. So I know the sheriff, Sheriff Moulton, Chief Fisher, Chief Duncan, Chief Everidge, and Crime Stoppers, Mr. Warren. Am I missing anyone? The law enforcement in our area came together with an initiative for domestic violence. And let's support them on this effort. The city of Warner Robins, we've been talking with Chief Edwards, our assistant chief, about some options we can do to be proactive about the issue that is continuing to increase across our country. So stay tuned to some things that the city wants to do to kind of get in front of it, make sure people have resources, they know when to identify they need help, they know how to escape situations, so they are here to see another day, things like that we're working on doing together. So whenever we do this, I ask that you support it. Please come out and tell a neighbor, tell a friend, because you don't know whose life you may save when that comes out. And I was reminded by Councilman Mack to talk about Burger Week, which is coming up. Go ahead, say it, because
Just want to encourage everybody to go out and get their shirts. It was so much fun last year. I think my wife went to every one of them trying to be the one that got picked to win the whole thing. But it's a lot of fun, so I would encourage everybody to go patronize these businesses that are participating in Burger Week. It was a lot of fun.
thank you. Yep, some good burgers. We'll have a passport on the website and app and stuff, so stay tuned to that as well. But with that, I am going to say that completes my comments. And we will be, the next motion you're going to hear is for us to exit for executive session to discuss real estate. Not sure if we'll have any action following executive session, but if you all want to stick around, we always love to have you. If you don't stick around, we will see you at the next council meeting, which is the third Monday of this month, same place, same time. Thank you so much. Enjoy your week.
Mayor, I would like to make a motion to move into executive session for real estate.
And I'd like to second that, Mayor.
Motion by Councilman Lawrenson, seconded by Councilman Mack. All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously. All right, we're exiting for executive session. We'll see you all if you hang around. If not, we'll see you next meeting.
Session.
Adjourned. All right, yes, ma'am.
I'd like to make a motion to come back from executive session.
Motion by Councilman Mack, seconded by Councilman Lawrenson. All in favor, please state aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, we're back from executive session from real estate. We have no action to take at this moment. So, with everything complete, I say this meeting is now adjourned. See you all in 2 weeks.